Listen to me, my friends. India is not weak. India is not soft. When Trump tried to pressure, when the West tried to dictate, India stood tall. Jaishankar did not whisper. He roared. He told the world, respect India or face the consequences. Listen to me, my friends, because I will tell you the truth straight. No sugarcoating. India is not weak. India is not soft. And India is not going to bow down to anyone anymore. For too long the world looked at India like a giant waiting to wake up. They saw 1 billion people, they saw the talent, they saw the culture, but they thought India lacked the power to stand up to the great powers. But let me tell you, that thinking is finished. When Trump tried to pressure India, when the West tried to play its old games of control and intimidation, something happened. India stood tall. India showed its backbone, and at the center of it all was Jaishankar. The man who did not whisper, who did not bend, but who roared like a lion and told the world, respect India, or face the consequences. This was not just politics. This was about dignity. India is a civilization thousands of years old. You don't tell a civilization like this how to live, how to trade, or how to fight. For decades India listened politely, played the game, went along with the rules written by the West. But now the tables have turned. India is strong, India is rising, and Jaishankar's message carried the weight of that power. He made it clear, the age of lectures and double standards is over. When Trump tried to treat India as if it was just another country that could be pushed, Jaishankar reminded him, and the entire West, that India is a country that must be respected, not managed. Strength is not just about armies or weapons, though India has plenty of those. Strength is also about confidence. About the ability to look the most powerful man in the world in the eye and say, no, we will not accept your pressure. We will not play by your one-sided rules. That is what shocked the West. They expected India to compromise, to apologize, to act cautious. But instead, Jaishankar flipped the script. His message was like a punch to the gut of Western arrogance. It was as if he said, we are not your subjects. We are your equals. Talk to us with respect, or don't talk at all. When you carry yourself with strength, the world notices. And that is exactly what happened. The West was stunned, because they were used to India being careful with words, always trying to avoid confrontation. But here was India's foreign minister, with calm confidence, delivering a powerful message that shook the foundations of old diplomacy. He didn't shout. He didn't need to flex. Because true power does not come from noise, it comes from certainty. That certainty is what made his words hit harder than any weapon. India's strength today comes from many directions. Its economy is growing, its technology sector is booming, its military is stronger than ever, and its voice on the world stage is louder every year. But most importantly, its people believe in their nation. This belief is what makes a country unstoppable. Jaishankar spoke not just as a minister, but as the voice of 1.4 billion Indians, who will not be pushed around anymore. That is why his words had the power of thunder. That is why the West felt the shock. So remember this, strength demands respect, weakness invites pressure, but strength commands honor. When Jaishankar hit back at Trump's attempt to pressure India, he wasn't just answering for the government. He was answering for every Indian who dreams of a proud, powerful nation. He was saying to the world, India has arrived, India is strong, and if you want our partnership, you must give us respect. This was the roar of a rising giant, and it cannot be ignored. For decades, the West thought they could push India around like a lightweight. They imagined that India, despite its size, would always hesitate, always compromise, always play the polite partner who quietly accepted unfair deals. But those days are finished. No more bullying, no more pressure games. India has grown into its own power, and now the world sees it. When Jaishankar spoke, he was not just replying to Trump, he was replying to the entire system of arrogance that assumed India would forever stay silent. His message was clear and powerful. India does not bend, India does not kneel, and India does not allow anyone to dictate terms. Think about it. For years, Western leaders spoke about free trade, about democracy, about fairness, but behind closed doors, they tried to squeeze countries like India with sanctions, threats or demands. They used the language of partnership but acted like masters, and the West believed India would always nod politely, always accept whatever was handed down. But now, India has the strength to say no. That is what Jaishankar made absolutely clear. He said it with calm authority, but the effect was like a hammer blow. Stop trying to bully India because it will not work anymore. Trump tried to play hardball, but hardball only works if the other side is weak. India is not weak. India has muscle, economic and military, and the confidence to use it. The Indian economy is one of the fastest growing in the world. Its markets are huge. Its technology sector is global. Its defense industry is expanding, and its people are ambitious. You cannot push around a nation like that. And yet the West tried. They wanted to dictate India's choices on oil, on defense purchases, on foreign policy. They wanted India to pick sides, to act like a follower. But Jaishankar told them no, India will choose its own path. This was not defiance for the sake of drama. This was reality. India is too important, too powerful, to be anyone's pawn. When you face a bully, you don't win by begging. You win by standing tall, by showing that their threats have no effect. That is exactly what Jaishankar did. His message carried the weight of steel. He didn't threaten. He didn't scream. But he made it clear that India will never compromise its national interest under pressure. That kind of confidence shocked the West, because they are not used to hearing it. They are used to smaller countries falling in line, to leaders avoiding direct confrontation. But India is not small, and Jaishankar is not timid. He flipped the game. He told the West, if you try to push us, we will push back harder. And let me tell you something, my friends, bullies only understand strength. When India shows strength, the West suddenly remembers the value of friendship. When India stands its ground, they realize they cannot afford to lose it. That is why this moment was so powerful. It was not just about one speech. It was about rewriting the balance of power. It was about showing the world that India is no longer the one that gets pressured. It is the one that sets the terms. So when Jaishankar spoke, it was not just a reply to Trump. It was a signal to every Western capital. Stop treating India like a junior partner. Stop believing you can twist its arm. The days of bullying are over. If you want India on your side, treat it with respect. Because this India, the India of today, knows its strength. It carries itself with pride, and the world cannot bully a nation that refuses to bow down. India is not a sidekick. India is not a follower. India is a rising superpower, and the world cannot deny it anymore. For too long, Western powers tried to act as if India's role was to stand in the background, to clap politely while others made the big decisions. But those days are gone. Jaishankar made it crystal clear. India is not waiting for permission. India is not looking for approval. India is stepping onto the world stage as a force in its own right. He reminded Trump, he reminded the West, and he reminded the entire globe. You need India more than India needs you. That was not arrogance. That was truth, delivered with the force of reality. Look at the numbers. Look at the strength. India is the fastest growing major economy, a giant marketplace that every nation wants access to. From energy to technology, from defense to trade, India is no longer just a participant, it is a decision maker. The West knows it. They need India's market for their companies. They need India's talent for their industries. They need India's partnership for their security. Without India, they fall behind. Without India, their plans collapse. This is why Jaishankar's words shook them so deeply, because he held up a mirror they did not want to face. India's global power is not just about economics. It is about influence. Look at the alliances. Look at the diplomacy. The United States may be strong, Europe may be established, but none of them can solve global problems without India at the table. Whether it is climate change, energy security, counter-terrorism, or technology leadership, India is essential. This is not the India of the 20th century. This is the India of the 21st century, confident, capable, and determined. That is why Jaishankar's message landed like a thunderbolt. He was saying, don't think of India as a supporting actor in your story. India is writing its own story, and the world will follow. Power also comes from self-reliance. India is building its own defense capabilities, investing in its own industries, and creating its own path in foreign policy. When the West says choose us or them, India says we choose ourselves. That independence is power. That freedom is strength. And it terrifies those who are used to giving orders. They are shocked because India is not begging for approval. India is saying we stand equal, and if you cannot accept that, then step aside. Think of it like this. When you walk into a room with confidence, people notice. When you walk into a room with strength, people respect you. That is what India is doing on the world stage right now. It is walking in not as a student, not as an apprentice, but as a leader. And Jaishankar's message to Trump and the West was simple. Understand this new reality, because the balance of power has shifted. You cannot move forward without India, and you cannot control India. The most powerful part of this truth is that India does not have to shout it. The world can see it. The world can feel it. From space exploration to digital innovation, from energy partnerships to global trade, India is everywhere. That is the sign of a superpower. And when Jaishankar reminded the West of this, it was not just a warning, it was a declaration. He said India is here, India is strong, and the future runs through India. So let the West be shocked. Let them realize what they should have seen long ago. The age of a one-sided world order is over. The time of India as a global power has begun, and the message is clear. If you want to succeed in the new world, you cannot ignore India. You must stand with it, on equal terms with respect. This was not just a speech, it was a declaration. A declaration that India will walk its own path, no matter who stands in the way. Jaishankar did not speak like a man asking for favors. He spoke like a leader of a great nation that knows its worth. His words carried the kind of confidence that shakes even the most powerful. The West expected hesitation, maybe a careful diplomatic balancing act, but instead they heard the voice of a country that has found its strength. Calm, measured, but burning with fire, his message was this. India is independent, India is fearless, and India will make its choices based on its own interests, not on anyone's orders. That confidence is what shocked the West the most. For decades, they were used to India being cautious. They were used to India avoiding direct confrontation. But this time was different. Jaishankar looked at the world's strongest powers and said, "We do not need your permission. We do not need your validation. India will do what India decides." That is the confidence of a warrior who knows his strength, and that is why the West was rattled. They realized they cannot control this India anymore. Confidence is power. It is not always about raising your voice or flexing your muscles. Sometimes the quiet certainty of a leader is more powerful than any threat. Jaishankar did not need to shout. His calm tone was enough to make his message hit harder. Because when a man is truly confident, he does not argue, he states facts. And the fact is, India is strong, India is rising, and India cannot be stopped. That truth was delivered straight into the halls of Western power, and they felt it like an earthquake. The West thrives on the idea that it can lecture, that it can dictate, that it can control. But India's confidence shattered that illusion. Imagine a battlefield where one side expects fear in the eyes of their opponent, but instead they see steady eyes, unshaken, unafraid. That is what happened here. Jaishankar stood firm, and his confidence was a shield that no amount of pressure could break. He was not defensive, he was not apologetic. He was assertive, standing tall, representing a nation that refuses to bend. This declaration was also about the future. It was India saying, the old world order is finished. We will not follow the rules written only in Washington or Brussels. We will write our own rules, and the world must accept them. That is confidence at the highest level. Not arrogance, but strength, rooted in reality. India is not demanding respect, it is commanding it. The West was shaken because they are not used to hearing such clarity from anyone outside their circle of power. And let's be honest, my friends, confidence is contagious. When the people of India saw Jaishankar's words, they felt it in their hearts. They saw their leader standing strong against pressure, and it gave them pride. It gave them belief. A nation united in confidence becomes unstoppable. This is what scares the West most. Not just one man speaking, but an entire nation rising with the same fire. So yes, this was not just a speech. It was a message to the world. India will walk with strength, with independence, and with fearlessness. No matter how much pressure, no matter how many threats, the path is clear. And the West, shocked by this display of confidence, has no choice but to accept it. The new India is not afraid. And once a nation loses its fear, it becomes truly powerful. The future is here, and it looks nothing like the past. For decades, the United States and Europe believed they alone could shape the world order. They set the rules, they enforced them, and they expected every other nation to follow. But now that old system is crumbling. A new world order is emerging, and at its center stands India. When Jaishankar spoke, his words were not just for Trump, not just for the West, they were for the entire planet. His message was a signal, a warning, and a declaration. The balance of power has shifted, and India will no longer play second fiddle. Trump may talk tough, the West may posture with threats, but India answered tougher. The message was clear. If you think you can dictate terms to us, you are mistaken. India will not be pressured into alliances that serve someone else's interest. India will not be bullied into abandoning its independent path. This independence is not weakness. It is the mark of true strength. Because a real power does not just follow, a real power leads. That is exactly what Jaishankar announced to the world, that India is ready to lead in the new order that is taking shape. The West was shocked, because this was not supposed to happen. In their vision of the world, India was a partner, but never a challenger, a participant, but never a leader. Yet here we are, with India rising as a global voice, standing equal to the great powers, and sometimes even standing taller. The West suddenly realizes it cannot solve the big problems without India. Whether it is global security, trade, energy, or climate, India is the difference maker. That is why Jaishankar's words were not just powerful, they were transformational. He was saying out loud what the world already feels. India is not just in the game, India is changing the game. Think of the battlefield. For years the West stood at the center, commanding the field. But now a new warrior has stepped in, fully armed, unafraid, and unstoppable. That warrior is India. The other powers can no longer ignore it, can no longer dismiss it, because India has shown that it will fight for its interests with courage. And when a nation fights with courage, it reshapes the entire field of play. This is what shocked the West. They saw India not as a quiet ally, but as a force of its own, reshaping the order of things. The new world order is not about domination, it is about balance. India is bringing balance. No longer will one or two nations control the future of billions. No longer will a handful of capitals decide the fate of the planet. India is standing for multipolarity, for fairness, for equality in international relations. This is the order of tomorrow, and Jaishankar made it clear that India is not waiting for permission to build it. India is already leading the way. And let us be clear, this is not just about governments and leaders. It is about the people. It is about the 1.4 billion Indians who believe their time has come, who believe their nation belongs at the top table. That belief is fuel, and it cannot be extinguished. When the people of a nation rise with pride and confidence, no power on earth can stop them. That is the true shock to the West. Not just Jaishankar's words, but the unstoppable momentum of an entire nation rising behind them. So yes, the future has arrived. The old world order is dying, and a new one is being born. India is at its heart, and the world will have to adapt. Trump may talk, the West had posture, but India has spoken, and when a giant speaks, the world listens. This is the new reality. This is the new order, and it begins with India at the center.